Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to show number 2796. Along with Steve the Throw Hill, the Ted Smith, Wobbin Fox, and my cock. And you are in the men's room. On tap today, Ryan Castle's Drunken Charge is into Sit and Spin Na. Today, 10 of rock's most politically incorrect songs. The word has some amusing celebrity anagrams. Get ready to play Profile This. Plus headlines, men's room shot of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
Click, clack.
Drinking and drunk. All right, here we go. True story. Spaniard raised by wolves ends up being disappointed with actual human life.
Really?
If you live in Rochester, New York, your dog can go to yoga and tag along with your wife and actually do the yoga. Sad news from Hollywood as Jennifer Garner's pet chicken has died. Arizona mom uses taser to get sleeping teenager son's eyes to open wide. And a 63-year-old substitute teacher unbuttons her pants, dances for the class while putting on some vulgar tunes while admitting she smokes pot. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right. If you've been paying attention to the news, then you know that thanks in large part to the Harvey Weinsteins, the Bill Cosbys, and the Donald Trumps of the world, we've all gotten very familiar with the non-disclosure agreement. All right, so in a nutshell, I violate you. I don't want you to talk about it. Here's some money. Sign your name. Have a nice life. All right, that essentially is how that works. But non-disclosure agreements, it's just a request to not talk about something, or it's a request to not do something. It's kind of like the Sonic restaurant in Missouri. We told you about this yesterday, but they finally had to put up a sign asking customers to stop smoking weed at the drive-thru window. The employees apparently are just tired of the smell of people hotboxing their cars. So they're like, hey man, can you just not do it directly at the drive-thru window? In Portland, Oregon, employees at a local TV station, KATU, they received a memo from their general manager forbidding them to talking about the station to other media outlets. KATU is owned by Sinclair Broadcasting. Sinclair Broadcasting, basically an agenda-based propaganda machine. The thing is, people are starting to ask questions. So the employees there have been instructed not to answer any of those questions. And in South Carolina, they decided that there's a possible name change for a local piece of land, and they made the mistake of asking for the public's help via social media. And they said, hey, just send us the serious name suggestions. We all know how this ended. But all these stories together, they brought us to today's question, which is quite simple. What were you told not to do or not to talk about? And did you?
Be a part of the big show. Call 844-999. Only you can like The Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Men's Room Live and send those emails to themensroom@mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
All the show's and away we go. Welcome to show number 2796. And what a large and in charge program do we have for you today. Ryan Castle, drunk in charge, will be in the Sit and Spin. And today, as far as rock music goes, there are some politically incorrect songs out there. And today, Ryan will bring us the top 10 most politically incorrect songs in rock. And
you don't say.
Yes, there's a lot of politically incorrect songs in rock.
I mean, it's endless.
Right? Well,
I mean, we did like the pedophile.
Well,
Christine 16, actually, 17, and I'm sure those aren't even on the list. But I mean, there's a million things in rock music.
I think for the most part, on certain subjects, that certain subjects can still get through, but yes, they might be endless, but a lot of these have ended. I think just based on the fact that there would be outrage if some of these songs came out today based on the politics of the environment at the time and what is the hot button issue at the time. Now, pedophilia, if that's a hot button issue, which should be, right?
Should be. Yeah.
You're not going to hear Christine 16 or She's Only 17 from Winger because probably no Ted Nugent song about a woman would ever be played on the radio, or maybe should be played on the radio. But you get the idea. Cat Scratch Fever, or whatever.
I mean, I haven't seen the list, so I have no. Let me put it this way. Instantly in my mind, there's like 10,000 songs.
There are so many.
But I can't imagine what these 10 are and just how bad they are that they are the top 10.
I mean, and the Color Girls Sing. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
But no one has a problem playing it.
That funky S going down in the city. Steve Miller cussed on the radio for like 30 years.
So did Floyd.
One program director finally went like, are they going funky S going down in the city in jet airliner? Maybe we should edit that. That was 1995. The song had been out since 1977. It took that long.
Pink Floyd is getting away with it.
Oh, yeah.
Do good bull. And I mean, every time. And only recently they're like,
ooh, hey.
Yeah, maybe. I guess you can't grandfather that in, huh?
No, you can't. No. I mean, look, man, there was a point in time where, and this is no lie, and Robin could attest to this. When the school shootings, all the shootings started happening around the country more frequently, it was any music director's job to go in the last second and pull any song that you had that had any reference to a gun. Janie's Got a Gun from Aerosmith.
How long is the kibosh put on that when these things go down?
You try to go in there, and if you're like, the last thing you want to do is, because most of the time, as far as music goes, you're just going to play Aerosmith, you're going to play whatever the hell's on the list.
Right.
And, and don't get me wrong, don't think when you call a radio station up that they won't play your request, but for the most part, there's some set songs that are going to be on there. Anyway, they're going to go in there and they're going to pull all those out of there because you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear jet airliner if an airline jet just went down and killed 200 people. They're going to take all the plane songs out. I like circus fine with plane and music. It's out. You're not going to hear Aeroplane from the Chili Peppers if an airliner goes down in your town. I'm sorry, they're going to pull the song. So it could be inappropriate, but these are inappropriate just based on the complete basis
just all the time
of the body of the song itself and what the song represents. So that is going to come up today. 10 of rock's most politically incorrect songs. And then the word has some amusing celebrity anagrams. We all know what an anagram is. That's when you take a word or a name or a phrase and you jumble up the letters in kind of a scramble way to come up with a different phrase using the exact same amount of letters. So you can't have any extra letters left. So if you wanted to scramble up Bob,
you got oboe. Bro, you got oboe. You picked Bob.
You got Bob. No, but you could scramble
it's a three-letter word that has two letters.
Right. You could be Ob or Bob or Bob. It depends on the
Ob?
B.
Ob is not a word.
OBB. Yeah, you know me. Ob.
Buckwheat
verse. That's right. 10 of rock's. The word has some celebrity anagrams and 10 of rock's most politically incorrect songs coming up with Sit and Spin. Okay, on to the question today, which is, what were you told not to do or not to talk about, and did you? And we have a bunch of stories here of people being told not to do certain things and people not talking about those things as well. Let's start with Sinclair Broadcasting. If you haven't heard of Sinclair, the website Deadspin.com, they did an article. They got a piece from Como News in Seattle about a script that all of the Sinclair broadcast stations were required to read. And all the stations did it. Some of the personalities involved, whether they were happy about it or not.
They weren't.
They were not probably very happy about it. But Deadspin put together this collage of them all reading the script in various things. And if you watch it...
But it's word for word,
It's
right?
disturbing. Yeah. It is absolutely George Orwell disturbing in a way where you go, oh my God, like this is a problem. Anybody can recognize that this is a problem. And anybody watching this goes, oh boy, are we in trouble. Well, down at the Sinclair-owned station in Portland, Oregon, they have ordered the employees to not talk to the press about a script about the fake news, that script that was read by anchors around the country.
That's because everyone started asking them about that.
Deadspin, by the way, not a lot of people read Deadspin. A lot do, but John Oliver...
More don't.
John Oliver then picked this up, and as many people who don't watch John Oliver more know about the story now that they've seen that show. So it hasn't gone completely mainstream, but it's out there.
Deadspin's very good for sports. They also do a lot of good stuff with media in general.
Yeah, it's a great website.
I think a lot of people people just think of it as sports.
Believe it or not, I think the people at ESPN just sit there and look at Deadspin and the Bleacher Report and a couple others, and half the time if there's a story of interest, they'll finally pull it off that page and put it on their own.
Yeah.
Unless it's actual, right? Here's the score of this game. Most of the real stories that they get come from these side sports sites. Memo said that giving statements to the media or sharing negative information about the company can have huge implications.
Why would you assume they're going to share negative information unless you know they're going to share negative information?
And this is according to an exclusive...
I like how that's written, too. Huge implications. Basically, we're going to fire you.
That's exactly what I mean. We're going to sue you. It gets worse.
This
is just the tip of the... It actually gets worse.
This article is written by Joe Concha, and this report was from FTVLive.com.
FTV.
They cover media. Yeah, exactly. I think we know what they're saying. Okay. FTVLive.com, which covers the media. Critics slammed the Sinclair promos after they went viral over the weekend. The compilation made by Deadspin then went on to John Oliver. Please do not answer any questions or get into any discussion with callers as they try to navigate to someone internally, according to the memo. Most certainly don't talk to the press about this issue. Direct them to the website and press inquiries to me. I will also remind you that giving statements to the media or sharing negative information about the company can have huge implications. Most broadcast news organizations and networks mandates that its employees not speak to the press. And that's fair, depending on what kind of organization you work with. If you are, and this is true on anything, like even if you're on a television show and you're launching the television show, let's say it's Roseanne. What network is Roseanne on now? She's still on ABC. Is it ABC? Okay. Before she goes on Jimmy Fallon Tonight, even though Jimmy Fallon is a big-time show, she has to go to the people at ABC and say, hey, look, the people at NBC, and of course they go, of course, this is what we
want to promote our show.
We're trying to get you booked on these shows, but they still have to go through contractually so that if Roseanne for a minute thinks it's good to be in, I'll give you a KKK Weekly, which, not knowing her mindset, sometimes she might make a bad decision. They go, no, you can't do that. We're ABC.
Right, please don't do that.
No, you're not allowed to be in that.
Stick with Fallon,
right,
not KKK.
Not that one. But that's the truth. They hold her intellectually property responsible for who she is, and she can't do anything dumb. So they probably would go and say, hey, don't do that. Sinclair has pushed back at critics of the ad campaign, who argue the segments are pro-Trump propaganda. You have to remember that, according to Jared Kushner, this is no lie, the Trump, while they were campaigning, they struck a deal with Sinclair. They struck a business deal about coverage. That was new. That is factual information. So let's not pretend here that it's not, because that was a business transaction that actually happened. So we already know that. I've written a letter to the Justice Department calling for Sinclair merger to be rejected outright, and blah, 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 blah. That's not going to happen. Matter of fact, they're going to pick up more stations. I think they are going to pick up Hearst stations, which I don't know if they own television when we were in Baltimore, and they own 2 radio stations when we were in Baltimore, too. And by the way, while we were in Baltimore, Sinclair was kind of they were in their infancy starting out there. They had a number of stations, but
they had a few, but
there was a number of people in the area who worked for the company there at the time. All right, so let's see. Then we move on. We have the story that we talked a little bit about yesterday. This comes from the Sonic drive-thru. And although we know there are many fast food establishments out there trying to cash in on the marijuana culture, including our friends at Taco Bell and Lyft, which offers you a ride to Taco Bell on your way home, Jack in the Box selling combo meals late at night, there is one Sonic location, only one, just one that complained, and for good reason. Somebody came up to the window and blew a bunch of pot smoke in one of their employees' faces, and they're like, dude, you can't do that to people. And they just got tired of people who were hotboxing and then going through the drive-thru and blowing smoke in the customers' faces.
Maybe basically, I'm a cynic, but
they were just tired of smelling the weed in general, so they put up a sign that said, please, man, if you come through the drive-thru, could you just not reek of weed?
Which it's just weird to me, and this is just my position, my honest-to-God intrinsic belief. I cannot imagine anyone who works in fast food that does not also smoke a ton of weed. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I feel like if you work the drive-thru window at that time of night where almost everyone's hotboxing, right? We can all guess it's like midnight and after. Everyone shows up stoned. We get it. It's just, to me, if I had to work in fast food, like I would want to work that window at that time because I'm a smoker, man.
But remember, Mike worked fast food.
God, it's weird. Yeah, that's right. You did.
Yeah, but yes, I mean, there is some
but
people.
So did Miles.
Wow, for 2 weeks. He never got that far.
He wasn't good at his job.
I never got that far. Yeah, I was going to say, if I would be the guy that would take out the trash all the time. I would think that would be the tell in any restaurant, in any kitchen. If you're back there, a lot of people just don't
volunteer to do it.
A lot of people don't like taking
weed.
out the trash in general at their own house or whatever, because even stoners in their own home, they don't have to take out the trash. But if you're working in any environment, if the trash needs to be taken out and you don't have
You'll volunteer.
Yeah, you don't have a service that comes and takes care of that stuff, I'm taking out the trash all day long. Anybody need trash taken out? I'm making a trash run.
Yeah.
I mean, that's serious.
The biggest thing is just the freezers.
Oh, the
Freezer
walk-in
hell-
fan. Yeah, the walk-in.
One, the super cold. If you have a super freezer, man, the cold gets rid of the smell, but those exhaust fans are fantastic. The flip side of that is if you stand outside of a restaurant, those things empty, it smells like basically they're burning a grow operation on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also got to wonder, you don't need to smoke right after you order.
Yeah,
These
but
people
I
at the
think
drive-through.
But man, I think they're just in the process of smoking.
Yeah,
all right.
could be,
And then
could be.
in the course of their hot boxing as they drive around, they all agree, yeah, let's get food. Good chance you got the munchies, but they're not going to stop smoking just because you're hitting the drive-thru. And again, I really feel like if anyone's going to be understanding that I'm hot boxing, the person at the drive-thru window after midnight, you have to know, man.
Right.
I'm going to roll down the window. It's going to be nothing but a cloud in here. I'm at a drive-thru at fast food after midnight. And not on a highway in the middle of nowhere. I mean, in an active city, right? You know I'm high or I'm drunk. It's the only reason I'm here. I'm not sober, put it that way.
Right.
I'm just not.
I'm just I don't know, man. Order your food, get it, and then drive off. I just have I don't know. Seems like somebody was just pushing it too far.
I think you're right. I think if you're stoned,
blowing the smoke in the face.
That's what I'm saying.
admit,
If you
but-
exhale, I'm just come on.
yeah. Now, in this world that we live in with many celebrities, the non-disclosure agreement is a big deal.
Huge.
And depending on, I guess, who you're hanging out with, if you're in a certain club where there's a VIP section, sometimes they have their own different rules. Celebrities have different rules, I guess, when you hang out around them. For an example, just in these certain instances, Mariah Carey. So Mariah Carey, when she separated from Nick Cannon, okay? Now, they had an agreement going in, but at the backside of it, the agreement barred Nick Cannon from speaking about her in any way in public about their divorce or about Mariah Carey.
Because she's a goddamn lunatic.
Or else he would lose all the money that she was going to give him. Meanwhile, Mariah Carey, she could talk all she wanted to about Nick Cannon.
Because he's not a lunatic.
That was part of the
It's
deal.
that easy.
Yeah,
Look,
pretty much.
it's important to her, and I get her position on this. Look, I've never particularly liked her. I think she's a kind of rotten person, just my opinion, but I'm not shocked at all, and I can completely understand why she would sign that, because at least whether it's her or her legal team, someone recognizes in advance she's a diva, she's a lunatic, she's ridiculous, she's annoying, she's all of these qualities that no one likes. And at the end of this relationship, because it's going to come to an end, you're going to hate her guts and you're going to want to talk about all the nonsense that makes her such a horrible, terrible, ridiculous human being to deal with, but it wouldn't be good for her image, right? People have a sense of that she's a pretty terrible person, but you don't really know exactly how bad. So to be fair, I think her non-disclosure agreement, you know what? That's good. I already don't like you. Let's not even make it worse. I already think you're probably pretty rotten, but I feel like it's real important. Look, man, but she's rotten with problems. So just can you not talk about that?
If you have to ask somebody to sign an NDA
in advance,
right? You either screwed them over or you're just an a-hole. Sorry, there's no other reason to do it, right?
No.
I know people that have
there's
done
no other reason
100 times through business stuff or personal interactions, and it's all right, so then why are you asking him to sign that? That's kind of a big sign that you think,
there's only one reason. There's only one reason why you'd have anyone sign it.
But it's amazing.
It's like pleading the fifth. Well, then we know you know something.
If you look,
we know you know something reasonably incriminating toward you, man. I get it.
Even if you're going to work on Donald Trump's campaign trail, a third woman has come forward with a lawsuit seeking to invalidate a non-disclosure agreement related to the president, according to CBS reporter Paula Reed. This is a former campaign staffer. She signed a non-disclosure agreement as a condition just of her employment with the campaign. So this is not related to a sexual relationship or misconduct sexually. Her employment was her complaint discrimination and defamation, but her employment was contingent on signing the non-disclosure agreement, and that covered anything relating to Trump, his family, his personal life, or his business affairs. I'm not sure if she broke that or how she broke that, but she had to sign that. Basically, it's not too much different than signing a general contract. If you've ever signed a contract when you work,
yeah, it's a contract.
They own your ass. I mean, no matter what you do, you're pretty well being owned by that company, and they're going to be able to dictate your hiring, your firing, and anything that they deem reasonable to be able to fire you. So you can, if you do whatever you can do, they always have the upper hand. There's no you're never going to sign anything if they don't have
or
the
they
upper
give
hand.
you the upper hand.
Because if you were to tell someone to sign something, then that means that you probably have the upper hand.
It's your idea.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm just saying, like,
This
if I hand you
benefits
this, like,
me.
Here, Robin, sign this. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, I'm getting $10 out of her pocket every 2 weeks. Like, you didn't read that, did you? I'm Apple iTunes.
Well, yeah, but it's human nature. If you show up with the contract, it's advantageous to you.
Exactly. Then this story comes our way. This is in Indian Land, South Carolina. And last week...
It's called Indian Land?
It's called Indian Land, South Carolina. And citizens,
is it an amusement park or they just ran out of names? Let's call it Indian Land.
I'm not sure. But last week, citizens of the unincorporated town of Indian Land voted overwhelmingly against incorporating. But on the same ballot they used to cast votes, there was a write-in area asking voters what the town name should be if the resolution were to pass. More than 700 people wrote in names. Now, the one thing that you need to remember here is they asked for serious suggestions, please, because they wanted to actually name the area if it were to be incorporated. So they weren't going to give it a name. They said, please, just if you're going to write in a name, serious inquiries only.
You can't do that.
So you know what then happens.
You can't do that.
I mean,
if you go to social media, you have to understand what's going to happen. Right?
And it did. It basically ended up being exactly what you thought it was going to be. So here are some of the names. Some of the suggestions of the new town name. Intercourse. Jabberwocky Land. Jason Land. Markstown. No higher taxes. How about No Town? Possum Hollow.
Possum Hollow.
The town of Suckers. Sugartown. Tabitha City. Sounds pretty nice. The land stolen from the natives. The occupied zone of Hindu land. One just simply says, vote no. Don't do it. Town Fort Awesome. Town Indian Land. Town Po Town. Stanky Coos. Town of Steve. The town of Kinney. Tax Land, Towny McTownface, the town of Trump, the town of Yankeeville, the town of Lagos City, Loveland, the Magic Kingdom, Poop Town, Pound Town, Hell, Hillary Clintonville, Kiss My Buttberg, Lancaster County Sucks Town, Smiley Town, Tebowville, D's Nutsville, Fort Thrill, Go Home Yankees.
Nothing wrong with Fort Thrill.
Good Morning, Gregville, and Idiot Land. Some of the names there for they asked for serious suggestions only, and that's what they got.
They have to know that's never going to happen ever.
What were you told not to do or not to talk about, and did you? 844-999-HOLA. Hold the line. We got your calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitchola. You have entered the men's room.
Ryan Castle on the way, the drunk in charge. He'll be in a sit and spin today with 10 of rock's most politically incorrect songs. Sit and spin is coming up after emails on our question. What were you told not to do or not to talk about, and did you? 844-999-HOLA.
Hello, Malcolm. Welcome to the Men's Room.
What's happening, guys?
Hola.
So, I was told by my mother not to tell my biological little sister that her father in the picture was not her biological dad.
What? Do you and your sister share the same biological dad?
We do not.
Okay, so the guy in the picture is what? Your father. She thinks that the guy in the picture is her father, but it's not.
Kind of. So my parents are split, and the man who lived with us growing up, who was my stepdad, she believed that was her biological father. Because
So that wasn't your father. That wasn't your father either, then.
No, so even my little sister would see my biological father come pick me up, but my mom didn't want us to tell her that the stepdad of me was not her biological father.
Now, but she knows that your stepdad is your stepdad.
She knows that the stepdad is my stepdad, yeah.
But does not
She
know
doesn't know
that...
that's
Not her father. She thinks that's her father.
How old is your sister now?
She's 22.
20, and she still does not know?
See, I've never told her, but we've kind of always wondered because he has a biological son that's 1 year older than her, and they were raised together. So we've always kind of wondered if they put two and two together, but it's kind of an unspoken thing in the house.
Wait a minute. She knows her actual biological brother, but does not know him to be her brother.
No, she thinks that's her biological brother.
But it's not.
Right, because the father...
not.
Okay,
All right.
So he had his biological son with a different woman.
Yes.
He is not the biological father of your sister, but she believes that he is her biological father, but also, does or does not believe her brother is the biological.
I need a graph.
Yeah, I'm losing it somewhere. So,
okay, so
wait, what does she think? She thinks her brother, what is a stepbrother?
So she knows that me and her have the same biological mother, and different dads.
All right,
but she believes that my stepdad is her biological father, and that her other stepbrother she believes is her biological brother.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
So she believes that her stepbrother was also born from your biological mother.
No, she knows that they have different moms, but she thinks that they have the same dad.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right.
Why has this lie stayed up for so long?
Well, originally, when it first came to play, when my mom was pregnant, we would go see my little sister's biological father in lockup, and he had to serve 1 year. Well, then after my mom came to grips with reality, she realized this probably wasn't the best father figure, and she started dating other men. Not necessarily that she wasn't going to have that guy be part of my little sister's life or anything like that.
But it sounds like she hasn't.
Well, yeah, so after a few months, she decided, we're not going to go see my little sister's biological father in lockup, and that's when, everything kind of started to take shape. My mom said, hey, don't tell your kid sister that this guy in the picture now is not her.
How old were you when your mom asked you to start keeping the secret?
11.
And what does the stepbrother believe? Is he privy to the truth of all this, or is there something he doesn't know?
Well, I'm not exactly sure because, like I said, we've never talked about it amongst the three of us because he's only 1 year older. So they were always raised together.
Okay.
Follow me?
Are they close?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
They're very close. Yeah, they're a lot closer than I am with either of them.
All right. You would have to think that you just...
Oh, yeah, they got the same dad.
Different dad, yeah. If she didn't know her biological mother, I think that would be a lot different based on maybe health implications. I don't know how that shakes down as far as the medical world, as far as they say,
But you still get 50-50.
That's what I mean. Like, if they say, does anyone in your family have a previous heart condition or any of that stuff? I mean... In theory, that could be maybe a concern.
Yeah.
I would think so too. I think it'd be very important to know if early cancer
heart
detection,
disease,
all kinds of things that might be a little bit more serious.
So wait, I guess her birth certificate then has the stepfather's name written on it?
Correct, the stepfather's name, because she was only a few months old when he came into the picture full time.
Okay. All right. Oh, trust me, the state does not care. The state just wants to know who they bill. That's all.
I got to be honest.
The state does not care what name you write in there. That's who gets the bill.
I think I did a better almost in algebra than trying to put together that conversation. And I was horrible at algebra.
It involved 3 kids, and I got lost.
What were you told not to do or not to talk about? And did you? 844-999-OLA.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.